Welcome back to the Pocket Dimension and your Daggerheart DM Pocket Guides. This is your cozy corner of the multiverse for quick, practical tips on how to run Daggerheart. My name's AK, and I am your nerdy co-pilot for this adventure. Today, we're diving into a big, fun topic, combat. So get those fear tokens ready. To quickly catch you up, in episode 1, we broke down the core of Daggerheart, the duality dice, and how hope and fear shape your story with every roll. Then episode 2 was all about setting the stage. We covered adversaries and environments, how to balance encounters with the battle guide, and how to improvise on the fly. And episode 3 started bringing it all together with some real-world tips for running a full session. So that brings us to today's topic, and it comes straight from a great comment we got on episode 3. State of Hibernation asks, can you cover more of combat, like as a GM? I know they can use fear or hop in if the players fail a roll, but do they get a turn to move all NPCs at once? Also, handling conditions like poisoned or breaking free of a grapple. So thank you for that excellent question. If you have any, drop them in comments and we'll keep making videos like this one. I have to say, State of Hibernation, you are clearly thinking like a Daggerheart game master already. So let's break it all down for you. First up, GM turns and adversary actions. We're going to start with how combat flows on your side of the DM screen. Unlike many TTRPGs, Daggerheart doesn't use a rigid initiative system or structured combat rounds. That's one of the things that makes it feel so fast and story-driven. Instead, combat unfolds moment by moment, beat to beat, narratively, not mechanically. So here's the general rhythm. Players are going to drive the action. They'll choose when to act, passing the spotlight among themselves. You step in as the GM when a PC rolls with fear on an action roll. You're going to gain a fear token and something worsens in the fiction. Or when a PC fails a roll, the story pushes forward, even in failure. Or you choose to spend your fear proactively to interrupt that flow. This lets you act as if a PC had rolled with fear or failed. And whenever you make one of these GM moves, you spotlight one adversary. That adversary can move within close range and make a standard attack. They can move within close range and use a unique feature, like a Cult Adept casting Shroud of the Fallen, or a Jagged Knife Lieutenant could use more where that came from to summon 3 more Jagged Knife lackeys. They can clear a condition, like breaking free from Restrained. We'll cover that more in a minute. Or maybe they sprint across the whole battlefield to reach an object or create some kind of pressure situation. Now, before we go any further, I want to give you a little peek behind my own GM screen. Even though I usually run Daggerheart online, I still like to have a physical reminder of fear literally in my hands. So I've got this little bowl of shiny tokens that I use for my fear markers. And every time a player rolls with fear, I just grab one and hold onto it for a moment while they resolve that move. It's like a signal to them and to me that the story has just tipped, that I now have permission to shift the tone, raise the stakes, make something weird and wonderful or, dangerous happen. Sometimes it's just a look across the screen, but sometimes I will kind of rattle the bowl in my hand. It's, just kind of a small, silly ritual, but it helps me stay present and grounded, and it lets my players feel the weight of that fear that they just gave to me. Now we're going to talk about moving multiple adversaries, which is, the heart of that original question. Do you move all adversaries at once? The simple answer is nope. There is no built-in monster turn where every adversary acts. You as the GM get to control the tempo. If you want more than one adversary to act during your GM turn, you need to spend fear to spotlight each additional adversary. And here's how that works. Every extra adversary costs 1 more fear. You can spend as much fear as you currently have. And generally speaking, try not to spotlight the same adversary more than once in a single GM turn. This gives you flexibility to raise the stakes and make combat feel intense when needed. So, as always, let's run through an example together real quick. We're going to say that the party is battling Jagged Knife Bandits and their head guard. Winrieth, our ranger, is going to take a shot at that head guard and they roll with fear. So you would gain a fear token, which is your window to act. First, you spotlight the head guard. Maybe he shouts an order and attacks Win. On a successful hit, his momentum reaction might even gain you another fear. And if he has the tactician action, he could spend a stress to spotlight himself and 2 nearby allies, meaning 3 adversaries got to act from 1 spotlight, depending on the action. And since you have more fear to spend, you could then spotlight a skeleton archer up on the roof who takes aim at the party's wizard Dimple. You're never just pushing miniatures around a grid. You're making narrative choices that help shape the danger and the drama of the fight. Up next, we're going to talk about conditions. Daggerheart has a range of flavorful conditions like poisoned, vulnerable, restrained, cloaked, stunned, horrified, or shaken. And here's something fun. A poisoned condition with defined mechanics does not appear in the core rulebook. But Daggerheart encourages rulings over rules, so if the fiction demands it, you could absolutely create your own condition on the fly. Let's say a giant spider bites Dottie the Druid, and you describe her vision blurring. You might rule that Dottie has disadvantage on agility rolls while poisoned, or that she marks a stress during each round until the poison is somehow cured. You could even add a countdown die. If it hits 0, she takes direct damage or suffers a new condition. The goal isn't to punish the player, it's to heighten the tension and let the fiction drive mechanics. Just be transparent and collaborative as you improvise. Moving on to the restrained condition, there isn't a grappled condition specifically by that name, but the restrained condition often covers similar narrative ground, preventing a character from moving freely. To break free from the restrained condition, you have a few options. There's the action roll. PCs typically need to succeed on either a strength or an instinct roll. As an example, the Cult Adept's Shadow Shackles action restrains targets, and they break free with a successful strength or instinct roll. Similarly, the Young Dryad's Thorny Cage also restrains targets until they succeed on a strength roll to free themselves. There are PC abilities, which might be specific features or spells that allow your players to clear conditions. For example, the Rogue's Vanishing Act Mastery feature is explicitly designed for this. It lets them mark a stress to become cloaked and automatically clears the restrained condition if they have it. There's also GM intervention. If you, the GM, initiated the restrained effect, for example, an adversary used an action to restrain a PC, you could also end it by spotlighting that adversary and describing how the effect ends. For example, if the adversary that caused the restrained condition is now distracted, you could spotlight them to take another action, thereby ending the restraint and allowing the PC to act freely again. Remember, ending other temporary effects can be done by the GM spotlighting the adversary who initiated the effect and describing how they would get rid of it. You'll also run into other fun conditions like stunned, horrified, and shaken as you peruse the core rulebook. Or maybe you want to go a little bananas and add conditions of your own. That is what the Daggerheart card creator is there for, after all. So go have a blast, you little homebrewers, you. And remember, your job as a Dagger Master, Game Master, Dungeon Master, whatever you'd like to call it, isn't to win. It's to elevate the player's heroism. Use GM moves, fear, and conditions to create exciting challenges, raise stakes, and keep that story charging forward. That is a wrap on this episode, so if you have more questions about Daggerheart mechanics or GM tools, just drop them in the comments. We're building future episodes based on what you want to know. Until then, bless your Daggerheart, and we'll see you next time.